Hi guys, welcome back to Loggery. How are you all? आज हम बात करेंगे how to handle negative marking in CLAT 2021. Today we are going to talk about that how you should handle negative marking in CLAT 2021. I'm going to tell you some easy tips and tricks. I'm going to tell you some hacks that are going to help you in attempting CLAT 2021. Yeah guys, welcome to Loggery. I hope you're subscribed to Loggery's YouTube channel and hit that bell notification so that you do not miss any of our videos. And I hope you're following us on Instagram. We're there by the name at I am Loggery. We do pretty motivational stuff out there if you want to stay happy, if you want to stay motivated, and if you want to stay connected a little more with Loggery, then do follow us on Instagram. What was the cutoff last year? It is very important to know the cutoff of 2020 because a lot of you are thinking that the cutoff was 100 plus. ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. अगर हम देखें तो जिनका फर्स्ट रैंक आया उन्होंने स्कोर किए 127.25 मार्क्स. ठीक है, जिन लोगों ने स्कोर किए 89 प्लस मार्क्स उन लोगों की या तो बैंगलोर, हैदराबाद या कोलकाता में एडमिशन हो गई. टॉप 10 एनएलयूज के अंदर 80 प्लस एंड सम और द अदर एनएलयू 75 प्लस. ठीक है ना. अब इसके रीजंस हम कह सकते हैं दैट नंबर 1 पैटर्न वाज चेंज्ड इन 2020. सो पैटर्न चेंज हुआ 2020 में तो बहुत बच्चे कंफ्यूज हो गए या कुछ भी. रेड का पेपर जो है वो अब लेंदी हो गया. ठीक है ना. तो क्लैट 2020 वाज लेंदी एंड 2021 भी ऐसा ही आएगा क्योंकि पैसेजेस होंगे. राइट, डिफिकल्ट फाइन, वो सबके लिए ही डिफिकल्ट और लेंदी है. तो कट ऑफ जो थी वो ये रही थी. आपने अपने दिमाग में रखनी है कट ऑफ, क्योंकि इसके अराउंड ही कहीं ना कहीं आपकी कट ऑफ जाएगी, क्योंकि अभी भी पेपर लेंदी और डिफिकल्ट है मेजॉरिटी ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स के लिए. राइट, how much time you should give to each section? This is very important, and before the exam you should decide, you need to decide this, that how much time you are going to give to which section. These students give 25 to 30 minutes to reading comprehension, and for legal aptitude or legal reasoning they say okay, we'll do it in 25 to 30 minutes. Now you need to note down certain things. Look, for reading comprehension 30 minutes normally students take. For general knowledge 10 to 15 minutes. For maths 10 to 15 minutes. For these three sections normally this is what they do. But yeah, they exchange the time between. Some students take 25 minutes, 30 minutes for legal reasoning or critical reasoning. If your critical reasoning is strong, so you will be able to solve your critical reasoning in less time, whereas if your legal aptitude is strong, then you will take less time for legal reasoning. Right, so it depends on you. What are you good at? Right, in which section is your strength? कौन सा section आपकी strength है, उस according आप decide करोगे. And how to make sure that you are able to complete a particular section in this much amount of time. जितने भी दिन आपके पास पड़े हैं उसके अंदर जो भी आप mock test ले रहे हो, ठीक है ना, उसके अंदर keep a watch. You should tie a watch on your wrist and you should make sure that you divide that okay, for this section I have to take this much of time. You should time yourself and you should not worry at all. Instead you should time yourself. If you practice this for some time also, if you give like 6 to 7 mocks also and you time yourself, I'm sure you will be able to do this in your actual exam also. So for everyone the time is going to be different, so please make sure that before the exam you decide that how much time you're going to give. Okay, we are going to discuss section wise tricks and tips also, but before that I want to tell you that it is very important that you also decide the sequence. Sequence means the order, that in which order you will be attempting the sections, in which order. Right, which section you will be attempting first, after that which section. Normally students they go by, like some of the students what they'll say is that okay, we'll start with English, then we'll go for a lighter section that is GK, and then we'll pick up maybe maths, or some of them would say oh, reasoning is our good section, we'll do reasoning, and then after some others. So it is on you that which section you want to pick first. It can also be a case wherein you say that I want to pick a section which makes me feel confident. You say okay, my LR is very very strong, I want to solve LR first because that makes me feel confident. That can be the scenario also. Right, or you can solve the sections that are your strength first and then the weaker sections thereafter. Completely depends on you. You need to decide. You are the judge here. Okay, now let me give you some section wise tricks and tips. For passage type of questions, it is very important that you try to read the questions first in 10 seconds, in 10 to 20 seconds maximum, and then read the passage. Now when you do so, you get a purpose. You get a purpose that you have to find answer to this question, right? Now this is very important. ये बहुत ही ज़रूरी है कि आप पैसेज पढ़ने से पहले, चाहे वो इंग्लिश है, चाहे वो एलआर है, चाहे वो आपका क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग है, आपको पता हो कि आपको पैसेज में से क्या ढूंढना है, किस चीज़ का आंसर ढूंढना है, आपको अजम्पशन ढूंढना है, आपको मेन थीम ढूंढनी है, आपको टोन बतानी है पैसेज की कि नेगेटिव है या पॉजिटिव है, आपको करना क्या है। तो आपको पर्पस कैसे मिलेगा? जब आप क्वेश्चंस पढ़ लोगे। क्वेश्चंस पढ़ने में यू डू नॉट हैव टू गिव मच टाइम, यू जस्ट हैव टू टेक 10 to 20 seconds, rush through the questions and then back to the passage. Now when you're back to the passage, mark the line where you think the answer to the questions can be found, right? You have to mark the lines. This is very important. Mark the lines where you think that the answer can be found and skim through the lines wherein you think that these are useless lines. Okay, next is, now come to the question and refer back to the lines. Now it is the point wherein you read the entire question, you read the options, and you'll go back to those lines and say, okay fine, this is the answer. If you do this, your speed is going to increase and obviously your accuracy also is going to increase. For English, please learn how to solve specific types of questions. Right now, we do not have much time to practice. So what you need to do is just read the theory, apply the theory to the questions so that you know that when in the passage, especially in English, in the passages, there are various types of questions that are there. You should know how to solve them. A free PDF is there on www.lawgiri.com. You can study from there also. For vocabulary based questions, read the entire line. Maybe your vocabulary is not that good, it is fine. But if you pick up CLAT 2020 previous year question paper, you will see, if you will read the entire line, you will be able to answer. अगर मान लीजिए मेरे से यहाँ पे स्पेसिफिक का मीनिंग पूछा हुआ है, ठीक है ना, तो मैं पूरी लाइन पढ़ूंगी ये और फिर गेस करूंगी ऑप्शंस में से कि स्पेसिफिक का मीनिंग क्या हो सकता है. कई बार आपको मीनिंग पता भी होगा, यू विल नो द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट वर्ड, बट इन दैट लाइन the word is used with another perspective, right? So you need to read the entire line. So whenever there is a question wherein meaning has been asked, you need to mark the entire line and read and then answer. For legal reasoning, my tip is mark the essentials of the law provided in the paragraph. If principle not provided clearly, then mark the law in the passage. Now, what you need to do is, if you again pick up CLAT 2020 paper, you will see that there are different types of questions that have been asked. Some of the questions, the principle, the law has been given clear cut. Right? If you pick up the previous year question paper, polluter pays principle, strict liability, clear cut the principle has been given. Whereas there are questions, for example, force majeure, the first passage of legal reasoning, their clear cut principle has not been given. Clear cut नहीं बताया हुआ कि ये law है, ये apply करो. No. From there you had to cull out. You will have to cull out from the passage. So what you are going to do is, wherever you see, okay, this is the law, you are going to mark it. Not only you're going to mark it, you're also going to say, okay fine, the definition of force majeure is given here. Okay, this should be there, this should be there, this should be there, this is the exception, fine. So you need to read like that. You need to again mark the law if it is not given clear cut in the passage, right? Now maths need calculation, very important. Even the CLAT guidelines say so कि need calculation करना है, because you might need the calculation for the next question as well. Current affairs, you can skip the passage and directly answer the questions. Only to answer some questions you need to read the passage. GK, you will ask, how can I do GK in 10 to 12 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes? You do not need to read the entire passage, just skim through the passage. Okay, fine. For example, there's a passage that deals with any of the schemes of the government, right? So you read, okay, fine, this is the scheme. Okay, fine, I know about it. Okay, fine. You go to the questions and you see that only for some questions you will have to read the passage, not only the, and for that you don't need to read through the entire passage. Sometimes, you know, they'll just put one and say, okay, what is this one? Tell me. You have to read that line and you say, okay, fine, this is one, this is the option. So you don't need to read the entire passage when it comes to general knowledge, right? You can directly answer the questions. Only sometimes you need to read the passage. So that is why you can solve GK very quickly. Negative marking. for every 0.25 marks are deducted for every wrong answer. That means अगर आप गलत आंसर देते हो आपके मार्क्स काटे जाएंगे. तो आप गेस वर्क नहीं कर सकते हो. ऐसा नहीं है कि रैंडम गेस करोगे, नहीं, ऐसा नहीं करना है. तो इसका सोल्यूशन क्या है? मान लीजिए आपके पास एक सेक्शन है, मैं एग्जाम्पल ले रही हूँ, एक सेक्शन ए है, उसके अंदर 5 क्वेश्चंस है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके हर एक सेक्शन में अलग अलग क्वेश्चंस होंगे. मान लो ये मेरा सेक्शन है, ठीक है ना, और ए बी सी डी उसमें ऑप्शंस दी हुई है क्वेश्चंस में, ठीक है ना. अब मुझे फर्स्ट वाले का पता है कि 100% क्वेश्चन डी है, थर्ड का मुझे पता है 100% क्वेश्चन बी है, फिफ्थ वाले का भी मुझे पता है 100% क्वेश्चन सी है. तो मैंने फर्स्ट राउंड में 100% मतलब जिनका मुझे श्योरिटी है कि यस यही आंसर है वो मार्क करे. उसके बाद मेरे पास आ गया है फोर्थ. अब मेरे पास कौन कौन से रह गए हैं? सेकेंड और फोर्थ, राइट, ये क्वेश्चंस रह गए हैं. अब मुझे सेकंड वाले में से पता है कि ए और डी तो आंसर कभी हो ही नहीं सकता, बी और सी में से आंसर है. तब ये वाले क्वेश्चन पे जहां पे मैं कट कर पा रही हूँ कितने ऑप्शंस, 2 ऑप्शंस क्रॉस आउट कर पा रही हूँ, तब मैं गैस मारूंगी. जब मैं 2 ऑप्शंस क्रॉस आउट कर पा रही हूँ तब मैं गैस मारूंगी. तो मैं कहूंगी अच्छा ठीक है, मुझे लग रहा है सी ऑप्शन है, सी. बट अब मुझे 4 के अंदर तो क्रॉस भी नहीं हो पा रहा है, मुझे पता ही नहीं कि इसमें क्या आंसर हो सकता है. तो ये मैं बिल्कुल बिल्कुल छोड़ दूंगी, राइट. अब यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग. नंबर 1, आपके होंगे 100% क्वेश्चंस जिसके अंदर यू नो कि 100% है कि आपका जो आंसर आपने चूज किया इन क्वेश्चंस में वो करेक्ट है, ठीक है. फिर आपके 50% क्वेश्चंस, 100% और 50% वाले क्वेश्चंस तो हम अटेम्प्ट कर ही रहे हैं, ठीक है ना. उसके बाद क्वेश्चन रह जाता है कि हम कब अटेम्प्ट करेंगे वो वाले क्वेश्चन जिसके अंदर हमारा एक ऑप्शन कट ऑफ हो रहा है. मान लीजिए मुझे पता है डी तो पक्का इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं है, बट अब ए बी सी में से क्या है ये मुझे नहीं पता. अब हमें नहीं पता कट ऑफ कितनी जाएगी, बट हमें इतना पता है कि क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर 75 to 80 के अराउंड किसी कोई एनएलयू मिल रहा था. तो अगर मान लीजिए, और आप वहाँ पे बैठ भी नहीं सकते अज्यूम करने की कट ऑफ कितनी जाएगी, पेपर इजी है डिफिकल्ट है नहीं पता चल सकता, राइट. पर हमें इतना पता है कि मान लो अगर आपके 50 to 60 क्वेश्चंस हैं, सिर्फ 50 to 60 क्वेश्चंस हैं जो आप अटेम्प्ट कर पा रहे हो 100% और 50% में, ठीक है ना. 50 to 60 क्वेश्चंस ही हैं सिर्फ. तो पता ही है कि फिर आप कट ऑफ के नियर अबाउट नहीं हो. तो आप ऐसे क्वेश्चंस भी अटेम्प्ट करोगे जिसमें आप सिर्फ एक ऑप्शन क्रॉस आउट कर पा रहे हो. ये तभी करना है. और रैंडम गेसिंग तो तब करनी है जब मतलब आप एक ऐसे स्टूडेंट हो जब उठकर बस एग्जाम देने चले गए, आपने कुछ प्रिपरेशन नहीं किया तब. अगर आप एक सीरियस कैंडिडेट हो तो प्लीज ये चीज ध्यान में रखना. टेलिंग यू गाइज इन इंग्लिश, number 1, you're going to solve 100% questions, 100% questions wherein you are sure that this is the answer. Those are your 100% questions. 50% wherein you are able to cross out 2 options, right. Now you will count, say your number of questions that are correct are coming around 100, 90. Then you're like, okay fine, maybe then you'll keep in mind that okay fine, if I choose, I mean if I'm going for this, these many marks are going to get reduced. If it is correct then this, and if it is wrong then this. Then you have to apply this type of maths also there, that okay fine, if this goes wrong 0.25 is going to get deducted. If this gets right then this much gets added. I'll score 1 mark, right. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind. There you have to take the right decision, okay. But yeah, 100% questions and 50% questions you can attempt for sure, 101%, right. So this is the strategy that I have for you. No wild guessing. You should not make random guess, because then there can be a case wherein you might know, you have done the questions right, but there can be a case wherein your negative marking changes the entire game. So that should not be the scenario. You should keep a count of your 100%, your 50%, and then see that what should I do. Wild guessing or random guessing is something that I won't suggest. Yes, then you need to see that should I attempt questions wherein I'm able to cross out one option or not. Eliminate the options and then try to arrive at the correct one. Now again, A, B, C, D. You need to eliminate that. Okay, fine. B is not the option, A is not the correct option, D is not the option, C. You'll see that sometimes you will be able to arrive at the answer by crossing out, the options. If you can do this with majority of the questions, chances are that your questions, your answers are going to be correct. Because sometimes what happens, we think that, oh, A is the option, and we do not read B, C, D, right? So reading all the options is one thing that you should keep in mind and try to eliminate also. Keep a count of 100% correct questions. This is something which is really important. You need to keep a count of this, right? Time for some bonus tips. Number one, read the question and the options very carefully, right? The word not should not be missed, because sometimes the word not is missed and you choose the wrong answer, right? You know the concept, you know everything, but because you have not read the question carefully, you choose the wrong option. This should not be the case, right? Fill the OMR sheet side by side. Please, you need to do the bubbling side by side. You do not have to keep it for the end. Then what would be the scenario? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You say, okay, fine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 1, A is the option. For 2, C is okay. 3, I'm going to leave. For 3, A was the option, but you fill it for 4. This should not be the case. So side by side, fill your OMR sheet. This is something that you have to do. Next is know when to jump to the next question. The examiner, the person who has set the exam for you, is going to put in some questions that you need to leave, that are going to waste your time. Now, this should not be the scenario for every question, but there are going to be questions that are going to waste your time. So decide that, okay, beyond this much time, I'm not going to give to any question. I might come back to such a question, but for first time, I won't waste my time, right? Because we need to make sure that we are able to attempt maximum number of questions, right? For that, we need to read most of the questions, and then we will be able to decide that can be or can be not, right? Next is, please, as I always say, do not worry. I mean, on the day of the exam, leave your worries aside. On the day of the exam, you should be the person who should say, okay, I know everything. I'm going to give my best. I'm going to give my 100%. Guys, remember one thing. If you worry, you're obviously going to lose the game, right? But if you do not worry and give your 100%, whatever you know, you're going to give your 100%, there are chances that you get a seat, right? So whenever panic or anxiety or worry comes to you, tell that okay, fine, for now leave me alone. I'm going to give my 100% and leave rest to whatever happens, right? We don't have any control on anything. One thing we have control on is giving our 100%, giving our best, and not worrying, not feeling that what if I'm not able to get it. Nothing, just give the exam. Instead, try to believe in yourself at that point of time. Make sure that you tell yourself that, okay, fine, I am going to give my 100%. I am going to make sure that this thing works for me, and that's it. Because if you worry at that point of time, you are going to have a regret for your entire life that, यार मैं कर सकती थी, यार मैं कर सकता था, but मैंने किया नहीं. I could have done it if I would have not, gone into that mode of worrying, or if I would have not got anxious, I would have cracked the exam. So remember this. Start telling yourself that ये तो करना ही नहीं है. You should walk in like a boss when you give the exam. Feel like a boss and give the exam. Whatever happens, happens. You give your best. So guys, that's it for today's video. I'll see you super soon. Logiri signing off. Take care. Bye.